Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, Institute for Energy Policies and Research warns perennial power outage could return if GridCo is not resourced to undertake major transmission repairs next year. Also coming up, telecom players want the communication service tax to be scrapped completely. We hear from the CEO of the Telecoms Chamber, Ken Ashigwe.
Also in the industry, the cost of doing business in the industry is quite high. The issues of taxation is quite high. And these are conversations that we are having with government.
Also this afternoon on our COVID-19 Pandemic Survival series, we hear the experience of CEO of Goat Masters, Gideon Padikonote. There you see him in your shots. He'll be joining us live for a conversation. Thanks everyone for joining us. Details right after this break. Welcome back, everyone. We begin from the telecom sector, where players they want the communication service tax to be scrapped completely. According to them, the tax is a nuisance tax, which makes it difficult for them to make more revenue, whilst government also accrues more in income tax. Ken Ashigwe is the chief executive of the Telecoms Chamber.
Because of COVID and the fact that we had to do a lot of virtual things, yes, the networks, the data usage went up. But you need to bear in mind, it is in the same period that we're talking about the networks benefiting that you've had Airtel decide to leave the market. You think that any shareholder would decide to leave a market that they are cashing in and they are making, extra profits? So it just tells you that difficulties also in the industry. The cost of doing business in the industry is quite high. The issues of taxation is quite high. And these are conversations that we are having with government. Fortunately for us, if you take the party that, the MPP, if you look at their manifesto, they themselves in the manifesto talk about the fact that they will look into further reducing the cost of data by reducing licensing and spectrum fees. So these are conversations that we all need to have together to ensure that the telecommunications sector that is currently the workhorse that is pulling other industries, including the media industries, up. We are able to support it so that we also are able to reduce the cost of providing this service that now is not just a utility, but it's also a human right. So yes, the telecommunications sector was not as badly impacted as other industries, but it also had its fair share of challenges.
You raised concerns about taxation and levies. The argument is your chamber or your sector makes a lot of profits. What do you have to say about that?
One of the shareholders, Airtel, within the Airtel Tigo brand, has decided to leave the market, and government had to step in as a step, to ensure the continuity of it. And the question I ask is that you think that any businessman who is making a lot of profit would leave the market? No, it's not. You see, and so currently for every 1 cedi that you and I spend, about 48 pesos of that goes back to the government in forms of taxes, in form of levies, fees, and all of that is charged. Had it not been for the engagement that we had with the EPA, the new executive director, EPA had gone to Parliament towards the end of 2019 and had resulted in increments of their permit by over 500%. We had to, but then it's been passed by Parliament, so we had to get back to the EPA and go and negotiate payment terms for that. That is a hike in the cost of permitting for the tower companies. We have the situation where Ghana Highway Authority, they charge for the use of their reservations, and unfortunately, it's only the telecommunications sector that we are charged $280. It's not even in cedis, dollars per kilometer when we lay fiber within the reservation. Now the Ghana Highway Authority wants to charge the same $280 per kilometer when you even string cables that are not buried underground. So there are a lot of costs, that are involved in the telecommunications sector. Don't forget, there were some Ghanaian companies that were given licensing to run, data services. A lot of them have, folded up. It just tells you how difficult the sector
Well, next, a very remarkable development in relation to our food security. Ghana's attempt to attain rice sufficiency is receiving a boost as 3 new varieties by the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research triumphed on the test field. The varieties Enapa, Kentinka, and Amakwetia were able to resist the rice blast disease. There's more in this report.
Stakeholders in the agriculture sector have been meeting annually to identify key issues in agriculture and present findings to the government for intervention. In 2019, it came up rice farmers at Akuma Wabiaja North, one of the largest producers of rice, have been facing problems with the blast disease and rice yellow mottled virus.
Unfortunately, farmers are not getting good seed. Some of them go to the milling center for their seed. Others to use seed for several seasons. And because of that, we developed diseases like rice blast.
The government, through the Modernizing Agriculture in Ghana MARC project with support from the Canadian government, aided CSIR-CRI to set up a rice disease verification trial at Abra, meant to help farmers manage the diseases. The project involved 3 interventions: the introduction of newly released varieties to farmers, proper land preparation, and application of pesticides.
We set out this trial basically to bring 3 interventions. One is improve varieties, or let's say release variety. We have CRI Napa, CRI Kentinka, and CRI Amakwetia. And we also got 2 varieties from the farmers, that is Lapez and Agra, so that we'll put the 5 varieties in a particular condition and subject it to maybe the disease inoculum in the environment. So aside the variety, we're also bringing in the intervention of land preparation. You can see that we've raised bands, and during the land preparation stage, we did paddling and then leveling, so that will help manage water and weeds in the field. Aside that too, we also introduced to them some fungicide and insecticide to manage the disease. And today we have all appreciated that the 3 interventions put together has resulted in the varieties showing up some sort of tolerance or resistance to the disease. And so the farmers have already ranked their varieties. And luckily for us, all the 3 varieties from Crop Research Institute fall within the first 3. And so we are now waiting to see the yield, and the farmers will also go and cook it and taste it, so that at the end of the day, the adoption will be complete. They have ranked it. They need to taste it and then also attest to it and then probably adopt it in their practice.
The Ashanti Regional Coordinator for the Research Extension Linkage Committee, REC, Dr. Ernest Murphy, is however calling on the government to provide farmers with the equipment to ease their burden.
With this anticipation, it is our hope that, as we have witnessed today, and the farmers have shown that they have actually embraced the technology that came for. And then if the other needs that they are requesting, that seeds should be made available to them. And they are also requesting and suggesting that if there are ways for government to meet them by providing them power tillers and mechanical threshers, which can help them to ease some labor challenges that they will go through in their fields, then rice productivity in the district is going to be improved. Not long ago, about a week ago, we took some agricultural officers also through some workshops that they would also sort of train other extension officers in their districts. And so we are also trying to do some kind of scaling out of the intervention of the technology, so that all rice farmers in their district would also get to know this intervention. And it's our hope that if the needed support is given to Crop Research Institute, they will be able to make enough seeds of these varieties available coming the next season, and then the farmers will have access to the seeds to plant and then increase rice productivity. So,
for JoyNews.
Very important feat there by the Crops Research Institute. Next, we turn to our COVID-19 Pandemic Survival series, where we engage entrepreneurs to figure out how they are working to stay in business despite the challenges posed by the pandemic. My guest this afternoon is CEO of Good Masters, Gideon Paddy Konote. We'll hear from him in a bit. First, let's watch his story. The goats were virtually pushed on Gideon since nobody wanted them after his grandparents died. Then an idea came to mind: to move from just rearing the goats to adding value to them.
After the goats have been butchered, we bring it here to process some into kebab and then also some into packaged meat, like in 1 pound, in the pounds, and then in kilos for our customers who order for the day.
It was not an easy beginning for Gideon, who was then a graphic designer, to take up this new challenge. As he recalls, he was sometimes laughed at.
People meet you, they're like, Charlie, oh, this guy is smelling. But I know what I'm looking for.
What keeps Gideon is his determination. Determination to see himself succeed at what he does.
The keys to survive is, one, God. I think if you have God on your side, you can move mountains. And then with God, when you have faith, you can move mountains. And then 2, hard work. If you are very hardworking, you push walls, you push every barrier, and then focus. If you are focused in what you are doing, you love what you are doing, you give all yourself to what you are doing, at the end of the day, you'll be smiling.
The KTL Market next, shall we? Where we understand some traders there, specifically F-Line, say they are not reaping from their investments due to the lack of access to their location. Now, they claim the only access route to the area has been locked up by authorities. Despite consistent effort to tackle this, traders say they're unhappy with managers of the KTL City Market for failing to address their concerns. Prince Apia has more in this report.
Traders at the new KTL Market say they make sales only when they move their wares from the shops to the roadside, which is against the rules and regulations of the market. The KTL Traders Association says the board of KTL City Market gave them timelines to solve the problem, which have elapsed. The traders say sales have been adversely affected and are demanding immediate response to their plight.
For those of us on the F-Line, there is no entry point to this place. This is affecting sales. The other areas have various entry points, which bring them more customers. During this festive period, I've been forced to parade my wares outside the market.
Even chance in a Kurana Katani Monokrani, because about Yadare Nipana Wobe Redredgen, Yadare song called the other side, Cotadi. Hano, we don't compare the other side now. Other side move faster than here. And here very slow.
This is a big problem. It is affecting sales. We need assistance to fix this.
On the other side of the market, traders are enjoying sales, though not as expected. Chairman of the KTL Pegi Traders Association says management have refused to implement certain rules and regulations because of the political season. This, he says, is having a negative impact on their businesses. Meanwhile, leadership of the traders say they will come out strongly next year to ensure their grievances are addressed.
When we met the management, they told us that 100 meters to this facility, no one was allowed to sell around it. But that is not the case because of what political expediency. Nobody wants to ensure the bylaws to work. Then also, if you come to the first floor on the children's hospital section, we have about 700 to 800 shops which are not being opened due to the fact that accessibility to that area is difficult. And these people are our members. We've met with management, we've met with KMA, the mayor, and all the people who are concerned. We've not seen anything yet. But what we want to promise, we want to assure our members and then promise the powers that be. Come next year, the first month of next year, the various traders associations are going to come together and ensure that what the city authorities have to do to make that place accessible for traders to come inside and with those buyers to also get access to the market. We are going to do that.
Operations Manager of the Traders Association, Ahmed Kwating, says they are currently working with banks to support them financially to boost their ailing businesses.
A union there, Yanni Angas announced a bahano in Drew 1 year cry. And Tinonia said they will be in the place of Betani, as I said the name of Beko. Your banks are about money meetings be brave. And we say, okay, the new way be obey here, Union, you bet my guarantee a mano. Say be already a GD or a member or Geobetia. Measure Kejetia and the Kumasi Jedifo in our boss. So far as our unions, no, your leadership, a quaint bias on the Yami Pa. 2021 no said the be an impeding for didi and kutahone ade ade beto ma dwadi etumpon e wa santememu de ye be am dwadi etumpon.
Prince Apia reporting.
Well, let's turn to our top story this afternoon. The Institute for Energy Policies and Research is warning that the perennial power outage, publicly called Doomsday, could return if the Ghana Grid Company is not resourced to undertake major transmission repairs next year. Kojo Poku is the Executive Director of the Institute. He joins me with some more insight to this. Great to have you on the program this afternoon, sir. So what exactly is the challenge?
Well, good afternoon and good afternoon to your viewers. Some of the things that we pointed out in our review is that government needs to resource the Gridco company who deals with transmission. In the past, we've had outages due to generation. And what we are forecasting is going forward in 2021 and beyond, if the Gridco company and its work is not resourced, the transmission lines in the country is facing a number of challenges. And because of these challenges, we have a lot of low voltages, especially in the southern part of the country. And we feel that the next load shedding or the next form of power interruption in the country would be as a result of bad transmission lines across the country.
Great. And also in a document that you have released to the media that I have seen, you've been making the case for decoupling in the energy ministry, where you feel that, you know, the oil and gas sector should be separated from the power sector. Why do you make that case, and to what end, really?
Well, because of some of the review that we did. We see that the power sector needs a lot of attention. You know, the generation side, the distribution side, and the distribution. Like I said in the past, most of the problem from 2012 to 2016 was mostly to do with the inability to have enough GENCOs in the country. Now we have generating capacity. Now we have what you call fuel security. When the fuel is now generated, how do you now distribute it? How do you now transmit it? We are seeing a rise in the losses in distribution. We are seeing a rise in the loss in transmission. So if you are to separate the ministry, the overseeing ministry, which is now Ministry of Energy, you now separate it to Ministry of Power and Ministry of Oil and Gas. It allows the minister who oversees Minister of Power to now have an in-depth look at the problems and make sure that there's resources to fix it.
Great. I'm interested in knowing your assessment of the energy sector this year, how managers have fared, and what you think would be the outlook for 2021.
Well, if you ask me how the government fared in 2020, 2020 has its challenges because of because of COVID. I think that it's not a good year to really gauge, because in terms of consumption, most industries did not work well because the COVID came about. So most companies did not work at full capacity. For us, we want to look into the coming year to now make sure that, because there are a lot of work that was to be embarked on. There is some transmission line work that was to be done between the Volta and Achimota, Kintampo and Kumasi. All those work has been delayed because of the COVID-19 situation. So the sector did not really see the full works that were supposed to take place within 2020. So for me, I wouldn't want to give anybody a review for a year that was hampered by the pandemic. Let's look into 2021 and hope that the resources needed by some of these state-owned enterprises will be given so that they'll be able to do the necessary work.
All right, I appreciate your insight this afternoon. Kojo Poku, he is Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Policies and Research. You're watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. All right, some money tip for you as we head towards the end of the year. Here's Money Lab.
On Money Lab today, remember you are your own Chief Financial Services Officer. Today, I want to get you to take a look at your Tier 1 and Tier 2 accounts. Round up as the year is rounding up. Ask for your statement on your Tier 1, which is with SNET, and ask for your statement on your Tier 2. Many of us even don't know who our trustees are. We've never asked before since we joined the organization. For some of us, we've even worked in more than 1 or 2 places, and we never ask where our Tier 2 sits because they are scattered among multiple employers and multiple trustee holders. Please, as the year rounds up, please take a scan and put them all together and make sure they are in sync with the deductions that have gone on month. So ask for your Tier 1, which is with SNET, ask for your Tier 2, which is with private pension administrator, and make sure it tallies with the monthly deductions. If you can do this, you'll be getting ready to become financially independent in the new year.
Very useful tips for you. This has been The Marketplace. My name is Darryl Kwao. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching.